Hi, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with Successful Black Woman. Today I wanted to weigh in on a conversation that's going on about Raven-Symoné. I'm not stuck on the part about what she said, which just so we're on the same page, was she said that she would never hire somebody with a ghetto sounding name, which kind of implied that she would actually not hire black people with uh, names that are unusual or sound too black, too ghetto, whatever that means. That seemed to be the insinuation, because you'll find that the people that are most offended about it are black people. But what my opinion is that Raven-Symoné's father responded to what she said in a Facebook post. And I actually saw the Facebook post and kind of ignored it. But now I'm seeing articles come up that say that Raven-Symoné's father told her off about what she said, and that, he said that sometimes his daughter says some dumb sh, the rest. And it is true, that's what he said. And he also pointed out that, you know what, this young woman is almost 30 years old. And again, that's true too. But the reason why I think that he threw his daughter under the bus is that, first of all, he started his post by talking about the fact that he wrote a book, and he offers products and services, and he says that what he's getting is people who are angry with his daughter and now saying that they won't buy his books, won't use his products and services. And that was basically what made him get on social media and say something and insult his daughter, and basically, to some degree, even a little bit chastise her on a public forum. That's the first thing. So I feel like his motives are off. He's throwing his daughter under the bus because what he's really concerned about is his own bottom line. And he's not paying attention to the fact that what he's saying about his daughter is detrimental to her. And the second thing is his book that he's actually pushing is, I don't remember the exact title, but basically the premise of his book is, I Raised a Superstar. And I can tell you how you can do it. So he's basically going on there saying the kind of parent that can raise a child to become a superstar. And then on the other hand, he's saying, well, the superstar says some dumb things, but don't worry about it. She's a superstar. And all I'm here to do is to tell you that you can raise a superstar, and here's how to do it. Never mind that the superstar might go on to say some things, or there may be some things that are off about her thoughts and her views and her opinions, or the fact that she might offend people, but just focus on the part that she's a superstar, and he just wants to tell you about the fact that she's a superstar, and he can tell you how to raise your kid to be a superstar. Then the third thing is, I believe that with correction, or with saying whether somebody's right or wrong, if that person is close to you, if they're a family member, more especially your spouse or your child, I really believe that there's some things that you say in private and some things that you say publicly. I really believe that some of the things he said publicly, he should have said privately. If he really disagreed with his daughter and he felt that some of her views or some of the things she said were too extreme or dumb, as he put it, I think that it would have been better for him to tell her in private. And who knows, maybe he did. But I think that one of the things that we can almost always agree on is that when you love somebody and you say you support them and you encourage them, you want what's best for them. You don't always agree with them. You don't always agree with what they're doing. But at the same time, I personally don't want anybody who I think is close to me or as my family going on a public forum and saying all the things they agree or disagree with me. They can agree or disagree with me, but if they're really concerned about me and they really care about me, I would think that they would tell me in private how I can correct myself or what I can rethink. Now, for a father to go on a public forum and say my daughter says some dumb stuff and then say all kinds of things about her, I felt like he really threw his daughter under the bus. So he's basically jumping on with the court of public opinion and saying that what she said is wrong. We do have to emphasize that the show in which she said it, The View, is about everybody speaking from their own point of view. And just because we happen to not agree with her point of view, it does not mean that we get to throw her to the wolves. More especially if the person saying those things is her father, he doesn't get to throw her under the bus. So I thought that was really, really extreme, considering that that was her father. And then the last thing is, I'm not excusing what Raven-Symoné says or what she has said recently. She says a lot of things that just leave me shaking my head. But one of the things that I have to consider is I have to really take a mature approach to how I look at her. She does honestly say some very extreme, some dumb things, some insensitive things, and sometimes I don't know what she's talking about. But what I can say about her is this is a child. She's not a child anymore. I think she's in her 20s, actually fast approaching 30. But she's a person who has been in the spotlight, in the limelight. She's been a celebrity. She's been adored and loved and not wanted for anything. She was basically a baby. And that has been her life. And that has shaped who she is and her perspective. So some of the things that she says are based on who she is and what her life experience has been. She may not have the sensitivity for the common folk like the rest of us, or she may not see things the way we all see it, and we have to understand that that's just the way it is. I've seen a lot of articles telling her, listen here, honey, this is not what you should say. Oh, Raven, you hate yourself, all these other things. And they basically come from a place of, I don't agree with you, Raven, so I'm very angry because I don't agree with what you're saying. Again, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm a regular, I'm a regular, I watch The View regularly, almost every day, in fact, because I live tweet and Facebook post some of the interesting hot topics. So I watch the show a lot, and I've heard a lot of the things that she said. And most of the time, to me, again, I emphasize, to me, she really doesn't make much sense. And even when she's making sense, she's just saying things that I can't believe she's saying. I can remember before she even came on The View, there was a whole uproar because she told Oprah that she doesn't want to be identified as black or as African American, and so many people were outraged by that. But from that moment on, I realized that again, she just has a different way of looking at things, and while I may not agree with it, um, I have a certain level of maturity when I deal with what she's saying and what my expectations are. And honestly, from that point on, did lower my expectations. So for the most part, I'm not outraged by what she says on the View, because it fits right along with what my expectations were of her. And we also have to understand she's the youngest person on that panel. She does bring a voice that maybe we may not necessarily be exposed to. And then another thing is she's extremely liberal, and she has had experiences that some of us may never, ever, ever had. So she's going to see things in a way that maybe we'll never be able to see from, at least not the way she sees them. So those are just my thoughts on the thing. I do think that her father was not the right person to get her on a public forum and start saying how dumb the things she says are. And I also think that it's a kind of a contradiction that how he intends to put food on his own table is by writing a book, amongst other things, that talks about raising a young woman to become a superstar. So he's really taking on this voice of, I'm a parent, and I want to tell other parents how they can parent. But then at the same time, he takes his daughter and says, look, I'm not responsible for that. She's grown. She can say whatever she wants. But here, let me tell you how to raise a child. There's a contradiction there that I couldn't ignore. So I had to say something. So he really threw his daughter under the bus. I think that there are ways to make money without throwing your family under the bus. And I wish he would consider those things. So that's it from me. Again, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses from Successful Black Woman. Take care.